Phocas the Cruel. Phocas was emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire from 602 to 610 AD. During his nearly 8-year reign, he lost a lot of the restored empire that Justinian drained the treasury to build. He spent most of his time purging the empire of his enemies, real and imaginary. Before seizing power from Emperor Maurus, the empire was draining its finite resources by constantly invading the Avars lands north of the Danube River. The exhausted soldiers, tired of constant fighting and not getting paid, they decided to rebel and named Phocas, a centurion, their new leader by raising him atop of a shield, after Maurus refused to abdicate his throne. Riots occurred in the capital city, which Phocas and his men marched into Constantinople to quell the violence. Phocas won the angry crowds over and was officially crowned emperor on November 23, 602 AD by the Patriarch of Constantinople, Cyriacus II. Maurus, who went on the run with his family, was eventually caught a few days later and was dragged back to Constantinople. On November 27, 602, he was executed, but he had to watch his sons be beheaded in front of him before he was killed. Phocas, now wearing the imperial purple, was too busy crushing rebellions around the empire to notice that the Avars, Slavs, and Sicilians began to invade the empire from all corners. The Sicilians invaded the eastern provinces due to the peace treaty they signed with Maurus being null and void upon his death. While foreign affairs were beyond his scope of knowledge, so were the domestic ones as well. He appointed members of his family in administration duties due to his distrustful nature of the Eastern Roman nobility. He did, however, manage to save Rome from a Lombard invasion, which won him the respect of Pope Gregory I, who called him a pious lord. Due to his tireless efforts to protect Rome from barbarian invasions when he wasn't too busy killing his enemies, he was awarded with a column of Phocas. The statue that sat on top of the column was knocked off and destroyed after his death. On the base of the column, it's inscribed, "To the best, most clement and pious ruler, our Lord Phocas, the perpetual emperor, crowned by God, the forever august triumphator, did Smargatus, former Praesepatus Sacri Patilil, and Patriarchus and Exarch of Italy, and its freedom preserved, the statue of his majesty blinking from the splendor of gold here on the tallest column for his eternal glory, erect and dedicated on the first day of the month of August, the 11th indication in the 5th year after the consulate of his piousness." In 608, the Exarch of Africa, Heraclius the Elder, revolted against Emperor Phocas. His soldiers proclaimed him the supreme leader of the empire and began the march from Carthage to Egypt, bringing more provinces into rebellion. He cut off the grain supply to Constantinople and refused to send them the tax revenue from the African provinces. In 810, he got enough support from the navy and the rest of the army to launch an invasion of the capital city. The army of Heraclius the Elder marched and sailed towards Constantinople. The rest of the imperial army was swamped with defending the eastern provinces from the Sicilians. The western provinces were dealing with barbarians, and riots and revolts were occurring in other provinces as well. As the walls were closing in around Phocas, he tried to rally the soldiers within the city to prepare for an invasion, but the only soldiers available were the Imperial Guard and supporters of the chariot racing teams, the Blues and the Greens, who were deputized to defend the city. Heraclius the Younger, who was his father's right-hand man during the rebellion, took over as leader of the rebels when the elder died suddenly during their assault on Constantinople. He arrived at the gates of the city on October 3, 610 AD, and after 2 days, the leader of the Imperial Guard saw how dire the situation was, switched sides, and joined Heraclius, and the city quickly fell soon after. Phocas, who was arrested by the soldiers of Heraclius the Younger, and was brought before him. The two had a brief exchange of words. He said to him, "Is this how you have ruled, wretch?" Phocas replied, "And you will rule better?" Heraclius had him beheaded and removed his genitals because he allegedly raped the wife of one of the Eastern Roman nobles. And later that day, Heraclius was crowned the new emperor. of the Eastern Roman Empire. Many historians view the reign of Phocas as one of a cruel and bitter man who only became emperor by happenstance. He killed and tortured many people who opposed him or thought they did. His incompetent rule shrank the restored Roman Empire even further than his predecessor and made the empire vulnerable from all frontiers. The only notable things he did during his reign of terror was recognize the Pope in Rome as the supreme leader of all the Christian churches and started the tradition of the emperor having a beard, which all the ones after him would wear until the end of the empire. Thanks for watching another episode of the Byzantine history of the Eastern Roman Empire. My name is Joseph Ulivas, your illustrious narrator, and I bid you adieu.